Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. I know Dynamite's on tonight, but no, it's Ask Steve and Larson. That's Ask Going In Raw. It's the show where we take your questions. That is the questions of the patrons over at patreon.com/Steve and Larson and the YouTube channel members here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. And we ask them for the burning questions that they have in the world of wrestling, and then we answer them here on the show definitively,
without a doubt.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
So Larson, a lot going on in wrestling. We got Forbidden Door coming up. Of course, we're going to do that live watch along this coming Sunday, and of course, hot Money in the Bank action happening shortly after that. And so we got a lot of questions about a lot of this stuff. What's up first?
What's up first? First question we got here from Nikyle. Nikyle asks, after all that Jey Uso has been through for the past 3 years, should he be the one to beat Roman for the undisputed title at Mania 40? Nikyle continues, I feel like Cody is an outlier in this bloodline story right now, but could they do a triple threat between Cody, Jey, and Roman at Mania 40? So let's lay out some ground rules, if you will.
Yeah.
Or survey the scene right now.
Yeah.
Right now, there's two people make the most sense to beat Roman. Mm-hmm. They are Jey Uso, and if they want to continue the story past, SummerSlam, Mania 40, Solo Sikoa. I think those are the two names that make the most sense. After that, and in terms of their involvement in the story currently, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but finish the story, probably the person they want to beat Roman, probably Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I don't see Solo. I respectfully disagree. I think it'd be interesting if they could get me to turn around on this. I don't see that though. Solo he's a guy who showed up to help out, and at some point will Roman turn on him? Yeah, of course he will. Or I should say Roman will make Solo realize that he has to turn on Roman. I saw a great tweet. Roman doesn't turn on anybody. Everybody turns on him.
He pushes everybody away.
But because of his manipulation.
Yes.
And so I see it a little bit different. I see Seth, Cody, and Jey. I think the number one at this point should be Jey.
Absolutely.
I really do. I think that you make it all about, everything is about the title. And we're going to, in a couple days on Friendo Club Wrestling, do some fantasy booking about Jey Uso winning the title. But I have to sit down and think about that because I don't know what kind of championship reign that would look like. You know what Cody's would look like. We're seeing it right now. There's really no difference. Like,
I know.
The only thing they wouldn't do is have him lose the actual title to Brock.
Yeah.
But they could have easily done this program with Brock Lesnar.
Absolutely.
With the title, including maybe like a DQ loss, like Brock beats him up too much. And that's how he takes, the DQ win over Brock Lesnar. We saw that with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. But everything else, you know that this is what Cody's title run would have looked like anyways. Yeah. And so I can see it with Cody. I can see it with Seth. He's champion right now, and I think him and Roman could have something interesting given their history. And I don't know how exactly that would go down. But Seth Rollins said something not a long time ago, but 3 months ago or so, where he was asked about Cody Rhodes and him fighting Roman Reigns. And Seth had said something that I think had a little element of real life to it. Mm-hmm. And he said, basically, a guy shouldn't just come in here. I know Cody was here before, but he's been gone forever. And a guy shouldn't just come in here and beat Roman. That's not how it should go. Yeah. Now, he framed it in sort of, character stuff, but he thinks that he's Mr. WWE, and he's that type of guy, a Mr. WWE type, should be the guy to take the title off Roman. I think that maybe Triple H and Vince might agree with that. I could see them understanding Yeah, we'd give it to Seth because Seth has been here putting in the work, and he is just as over as Cody is. Maybe, just like maybe a little bit less. But I see Seth and I see Cody because of the history and because of what Cody brings to the table. He's clearly the most over guy in the company. Seth's a close second. And then there's Jay, who works the most from a storyline perspective.
Yeah.
If they simply want to tell the best story, it's Jay Uso. And everybody who's been saying that since day one is absolutely correct. Yeah.
So, like, here's the one thing with Seth that I don't necessarily think it would likely be Seth. At least not. Seth needs to lose to Roman first. Roman needs to get that win over Seth first, I feel like, to kind of expunge that period of his that betrayal from his soul, if you will. He needs to overcome that. And maybe that's something that happens towards the tail end of his run. I don't know. Now, if you want to come back around and have Seth beat Roman later on, sure. But I feel like if their paths meet again, Roman's winning that one, whether it's for titles or not. I mentioned Solo because let's lay some framework out that would lead to Jay winning or someone winning at Mania 40.
Yeah.
Whether it's Jay, Solo, Cody, Seth, whoever. So if at Money in the Bank we have this tag match, Jay ends up pinning Roman, which I think would be great, setting up Jay versus Roman at SummerSlam. Solo cost Jay that match. Now you could spend the latter half of 2023 telling the story of the Usos trying to get their brother Solo Sikoa away from Roman. That could lead to Solo maybe facing Roman at Mania 40. Maybe. I still think Jay is a better option, but if they tell that story right, it's there. You could also do Jay. They spend the latter half of 2023 getting Solo out away from Roman, and that gives Jay an even playing field against Roman at Mania 4. I mean, that's the same case for anybody. And it's got to. I'm guessing it's going to be the Usos that are going to get Solo out of there at some point. I don't know what it's going to be, but Solo's got to get out of there at some point.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really like your scenario of Jay. I mean, I know we're talking about Mania 40, but if Jay is going to have a shot at Roman, SummerSlam actually makes a lot of sense. And I don't know that he would actually be the guy. I just don't know if WWE would do that, because with Jay, you really have to ask the question, what next? What next is that's a hard question to figure out for Jey Uso, because the whole, like, Jay is getting, and his story has been so embraced by the fans of WWE. Everybody recognizes that he is, but there's like the biggest question is, without Roman, what is Jay? It's not as if this run is setting Jay up to be a mega solo guy. It's setting him up to be the guy that brings Roman down, because Jay is sort of Roman's original sin when it comes to the tribal chief. And I just don't know. Like, WWE, look, they've been really good with the bloodline stuff, but there's always that what happens next. And that's a big fall off from when Roman finally loses the title. Jay has it. And yes, I think there are interesting stories you can tell, but at that point, I don't even know where, like, the wrestling fits into it, you know? Like, all of a sudden he's going to be, well, it's kind of like, I'll just put it this way, kind of like Kofi. Like, they could have done some really cool things with Kofi, but I don't know that WWE anyways, never really saw Kofi as a guy who was outside of the New Day, who could stand on his own, who could win matches against the biggest opponents. And that's what Jay needs to look legit against a Brock Lesnar, you know, or against a Drew McIntyre. Yeah. And we haven't seen that. So him winning the title off Roman, what do you do after that? Here's what you could do. And I won't, if we're going to do a fantasy booking thing, I won't give the full scenario, but this just popped in my head. What did Roman say to Jay? You're next in line. Jay wins the title, and whether he is officially bequeathed the title of tribal chief, whether he just feels the pressure to now be the tribal chief, whether the elders say to him, now you are tribal chief. That's a lot on his shoulders, having gone through all this whole bloodline stuff.
Can he handle that responsibility? Can he handle that pressure?
That, and you're absolutely right, because that's the only story. That's the only story I can think of also is how does Jay deal with being the face of WWE, with being the tribal chief? And inevitably he can't, you know, I don't know. This is why it would be such a great thing, is that he reaches the highest of highs, but then for Jay, the question of what now becomes too much. And that's the only good story you can tell. You don't tell the story where Brock Lesnar comes after him, you know, like that's the Cody story. You don't tell that story. And I just don't know. I don't know what you do. Do you do a guy who understands that Roman was right in that the only way you hold on to this is by manipulating people around you?
I mean, that's good. That's good story fodder. That really is.
It's also tragedy. It's also because it ends nowhere but a vicious cycle of Jay then having somebody take him down and he doesn't get it. So Jay eventually coming to peace with, I'm not the tribal chief. I'm a tag team champion with my brother, and there's validity to that, and I can understand that my life has meaning from that. Yeah. Shit, I just exposed what my story is going to be.
Well, that's basically what I was going to say, too, so I guess we could scratch that video off because we had the same idea.
All right, I'll do the one where Jay travels to the future and encounters future Roman when he's 80.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know. I think that Jay is the best option story-wise, but after the fact, he might be the worst option because what do you do? You
would do that story because that's an interesting story. Yeah,
I know, but is it a story they want to spend time with the world champion? Like there's, you know, when you need the Cody type, you know, the Batista type, the whatever type, you know, even Edge or Seth or whatever. I don't know that you do that.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. We got two questions that might be somewhat interrelated, so we can talk about them both now. Timor here asks, when Roman eventually loses his world title, when do you think we could see him challenge for it again? Andrew Connolly here says, how would you book a babyface Roman? So I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that if Roman, after he loses the title, bloodline falls apart, if and when he wins it again, it'll be as a babyface. Agreed?
Yeah.
So I guess the road is, how do you get there? And I think the most obvious answer is you got to tell the redemption story.
Yeah.
You know, he comes to grips with the fact that, all right, I messed up.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I spent the better part of 4 years, probably by that point, almost 4 years, manipulating my family. And look what it has wrought. My family, no one believes me. No one can trust me. I have to rebuild that trust.
So here's what you do. You need somebody, maybe you take Seth, you shelve him for a bit, right? Not shelve him, but you don't worry about Seth and Roman. Jay takes out Roman. Seth Rollins, they start to turn him bad guy. Roman's gone. Seth starts turning into a bad guy. He starts, amassing some cult figures, or some followers rather. He becomes sort of again a cult leader type, which he already is showing shades of, even though he's super over. He's got the crowd singing his shit, and he's obviously pretty full of himself. Well, that can turn into being an asshole pretty quickly.
Yes.
So eventually he becomes the guy. He becomes, maybe they do a brand switch. He gets the big title, and Roman's been gone. Let's say Roman leaves for like a year, which I don't know. They're going to let him do that. Like if he wants to go, I assume he can go. But let's say he's gone for a long time, because, the longer they're gone, the bigger the return, the better it is.
Yeah.
And they can hold it down with Seth and Cody as the top guys.
Absolutely.
So Seth is the top guy on SmackDown. He's got the title. He's doing killer work. He's a bad guy, but everybody loves him, just like they love Roman. They love to hate him, right? Well, Seth realizes that, like, he's got one person out there that everybody considers to be the guy. And even though Seth has beat him, he never beat, not really, the tribal chief. Like, he had the wonky DQ finish, but he hates that maybe, I don't know, maybe Seth goes on like a killer run with the World Heavyweight Championship, but it falls short of the 1,000 days of Roman's record. And he hates that Roman has that on him, and he hates that Roman is brought up, and I don't know, they do like some celebratory Roman stuff. I don't know. And he hates that. And he starts calling out Roman. Roman doesn't show. Roman finally shows, but Seth has this kind of like army that can overwhelm Roman. Because here's the bottom line with Roman. He needs big odds against him.
Yeah, he does.
Who's gonna make him intimidated? Who's gonna scare Roman?
Yeah, he needs steep odds.
So that's when you tell the story about Roman beating Seth.
Yeah, and what you could do is you could have Seth start to display some of the same personality traits that Tribal Chief Roman had, from manipulating people to achieve his own ends.
Yeah,
and Roman can be a cautionary tale for Seth.
Yeah,
you know, this path you're going on, this is where it leads. You're going to lose everything.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
if you don't stop this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be something.
I mean, dude, you can even have Seth. It could be sort of like a pseudo Nexus type thing, like taking the one cool thing the Nexus ever did, you know, ending Raw, beating everybody down, and almost killing Justin Roberts. And maybe Seth can be developing an army in NXT, and then like people are like, oh, he's just trying to teach them to be more like him or whatever. But then they make a big call-up debut attacking Roman when Roman tries to reach out to Seth and says, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Yeah. I have found peace, you know, understanding the error of my ways, and I feel like you've lost yours. So there's some cool stuff. See, look, there's another one that we could do a fantasy book for.
We just did.
Well, yeah, no, but we could do like a more extensive.
Oh, another thing. Yeah. Club, just chop these sections out of this video and put it up on Friendo Club Wrestling. Yeah. We got a question here from Mayor Planet Houston. Asks, has the build of Forbidden Door been good? Also, what matches do you expect to get added to the show, or will this have a smaller card this time around? So as of filming this Wednesday about 3:30 in the afternoon, there's 4 announced matches. Yeah. That will at least double between now and Sunday.
Yes, and then that'll at least double. Are there any more? So right now on the table, we've got MJF Tanahashi. Yeah. We've got Kenny versus Will Ospreay. Yeah. We've got, hold on, don't tell me. I don't know what else do we have. Okada versus Danielson, and
then Sonata and Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Are there any others that they've like teased at all?
Yeah, Orange Cassidy and Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh yeah, that's happening. Yeah, that's happening.
Teased.
That'll be 5.
I think they've teased Blackpool Combat Club versus Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto.
They have. I think those titles are supposed to be on the line, so that'll be 6.
That would be 6.
You have to get to 10. They'll announce a couple more. I'm trying to think if who else. Like apparently Stardom's not involved, so I don't know if there's going to be.
Yeah.
Well, Willow's the New Japan Strong.
Willow will put her title up, I'm sure.
So
maybe
there's 7 right there.
Ruby or somebody in the Outcasts. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's probably 7 right there. Yeah, otherwise, like, I mean, all you need at that point is like 3 more. I mean, look, if they want to be cool, they'll just end it there. CM Punk will be on the show.
Him and Kenta, maybe, if that match comes to fruition.
Kenta. Yeah,
you know, I've seen a lot of people talk on social medias about, you know, MJF saying now the Tanahashi match isn't going to happen. If MJF no shows, and then CM Punk with his title. Yeah. Wrestles Tanahashi.
I saw that as well. Yeah, I think that would be pretty interesting, especially if he actually did, you know, bring the title with him. What if he only carries the title in a sack? Be like Orange Cassidy.
And the whole time he was like, haha, this wasn't the title. This was,
you know,
a bunch of Spindrift, or I don't know, whatever. It's my old WWE title. Haha.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Somebody said, yeah, what if it's a Ring of Honor title? That'd be terrible.
We don't know what it is.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Yeah, it's a mystery
bag. It could be a bluff on Phil's part this whole time.
Yeah, it's a mystery bag.
It's a toy title he bought at Target. AEW.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. It's a Hangman Page action figure.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So, but the question was, what's the deal with the build?
I mean, this is one of those shows, an annual, more or less an exhibition thing. Yes, there's some stories. I understand Kenny and Ospreay have a few that go back several months. Okada and Bryan Danielson, who's the best?
You don't need a story.
Don't need a massive story for that.
Need a story for that.
If they do Kenta CM Punk, like Kenta's had like some sort of beef with Punk for a while.
Yeah, because he took his move.
He took his finisher. Yeah. I think what else they've announced. Is anything else? I mean, if they do Willow versus, say, Ruby, that's the story they've been telling.
Yeah, that's part of the story. Yeah.
So in terms of the build, has it been good? I don't know if you can necessarily judge a build to a show like this, where it's just 8 dream matches. That's an exhibition that, for the most part, exists outside the larger continuity of AEW, as it hasn't been good or not. Because it's not the stories that sell on the show; it's the matches.
The build exclusively is the matches, with the exception of Zack Sabre Jr. saying "orange buttocks." That's all the build I need. Whoa. Yeah. Zack Sabre Jr. in a comedy match against Orange Cassidy? Hell yeah. Look, man, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think AEW does have some issues reaching across some demographics, perhaps. However, making an effort to bring back a name like CM Punk that a lot of the, lapsed fans might be into, seeing him come back, spending the big money on Punk, having your shit on cable TV. I think AEW, they do what they can to the best of what they believe their ability is in growing their product. You could quibble about your stories. This shit don't need stories. It doesn't. It's the stupidest thing in the world to say, well, you got to do stories. You got to do a build to reach the casual fans for this. No, you don't. This is not for them. No. You still have a hardcore base of fans who you need to keep happy. And yes, they might be around regardless, but as you've seen with WWE, there is a stretch of time when they won't always be there if you don't cater to them. And Forbidden Door is the thing that really caters to the people who just gobble up wrestling every night of the week. They don't go to the bars, they don't go karaoke, and they don't do bowling. They just ingest wrestling.
Just wrestling, nothing else.
Right. So Danielson Okada, what?
Who doesn't want to see that?
Who doesn't want to see that shit? Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy, don't want to see that shit.
Because here's the thing. While there might not be a story going into the match, every match is going to have a story in the match.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because that's the nature of pro wrestling. It's choreographed fighting that tells stories. There's going to be stories involved in these matches.
Right. You don't go like an indie show and go like, there's no build to this match.
No, you don't do that.
You watch the cool story they tell in the ring.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the spirit of indie wrestling, because most indie wrestling, they don't have the benefit of like a DPW where they sort of tell stories on their show.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's a little ridiculous. Anyways, before we get to the next question, let's go ahead and pay some bills. What do you say, Larson?
Let's do it. Let's take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. Steve.
Yeah.
Saying it all week. Said it over the last few weeks. Talked about some of the accidents I've been involved in or I've witnessed during my life. I talked about getting bit in the face by a dog.
Yeah.
Nearly drowning, falling off a cliff. I remember one more.
Oh.
Had a firework shot right into my face once. This is all true too.
Dude, you are the most. You haven't even mentioned the one that I was there for when you sprained your ankle and it blew up like a balloon.
Yeah.
We're playing basketball. You're the most accident-prone person I've ever met.
But that's the point I'm trying to make this whole time. Accidents can and do happen. They happen to me. I don't feel like they happen any more than anybody else, but they can happen to anybody. And you can be injured because of those accidents when you least expect it. Luckily, I've never been seriously injured during any of these accidents.
Yet.
But if you ever find yourself injured, you could check out America's largest injury law firm with over 100 offices nationwide, Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan has a proven record of getting their clients full and fair compensation. Listen to this, Steve.
Yeah.
They've recovered more than $15 billion for their clients.
My goodness. And Morgan & Morgan makes it easy to submit a claim. It's more like ordering takeout than hiring a lawyer. In 8 clicks or less, you can submit your claim, and you can do it without having to leave your couch. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/raw or dial #law. That's #529 from your cell phone.
That's forthepeople.com/raw or #law, #529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
And before we get back to the show, let's go ahead and get a word in from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Larson.
What's that, Steve?
It can be pretty easy to get caught up in what everybody needs from you, whether it's work, family, or friends. You can spend so much time giving that you start feeling stretched too thin and burned out because you can't find the time to take a moment to think about what you need from yourself.
Yeah, I was there in my mid-late 20s. I had lost that balance, and I felt like I wasn't giving myself the time to figure out what I needed for me, and because of that, I started dealing with really severe anxiety. Eventually got to the point where I made the realization that I had to go to therapy. It took me a few tries to find someone I felt comfortable talking to, but once I did, I learned the tools that I really needed to better cope with my anxiety. So if you're looking to bring some balance back to your life, therapy can help you learn the tools you need so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try.
BetterHelp is entirely online and is designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. And all you got to do to get started is fill out a brief online questionnaire. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
You ready for the next question, Steve?
I am ready. What do we got?
This one's from John Hosey. Says, we see in the past that wrestlers get mega over with the crowd, but WWE has been reluctant to use them or put them in prominent spots. Why do you think that happened? Do you think things would be different with L.A. Knight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it remains to be seen if that was largely a Vince thing, because we know that Vince was like, oh, I know better than you, and I know what somebody who really is over with the crowd versus, oh, they just like one silly aspect of their gimmick. I don't know what Vince didn't see in Damien Sandow. There's been a couple examples. Where I've been like, why are you pushing this guy? Like, for me, personally speaking, I did not understand what he saw in Mr. Kennedy. Now, I know plenty of people out there do like Mr. Kennedy, and I'm not dogging Mr. Kennedy. But I was like, all he is a gimmick who talks into a microphone. He does his own announcing. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Damien Sandow, I thought had that thing where it's like, oh, he's smart. He gets it. He gets what he's doing. He gets his character, and he knows how to work the crowd. And he got over multiple times.
He did.
And they didn't, and they continued to just not use him properly. I would like to think that Triple H, because he's a different person, we've already seen, and I know Vince was absent at the time, but, you know, Vince didn't see it in Gunther. Triple H clearly does. And Vince has rolled with that. Vince didn't see it in LA Knight. Triple H clearly does. He sees something. Now, is there a push and pull between Triple H and Vince? I don't know. But I would like to think that Triple H understands when somebody gets over, you know, to push that. Now with LA Knight, the only thing that I can think of with LA Knight, and even with myself, I'm like, man, I don't know if I'd make this guy world champion, is because they have done such a good job lately of crafting characters with some amount of dimension. You know, you look at Dom Mysterio, for example, and how over he is with the crowd and all the boos he gets. It ain't go away heat. It's we want to fuck with this guy heat, which is kind of the good stuff, right?
Yeah. That's the heat you want. Yeah. And
it's because his promos are so good. When he dog his dad, and to this day, he'll still like relate things to his deadbeat dad. It's a relationship with Rhea Ripley. He's just a well-rounded character.
Yeah.
And we've seen what they're doing right now with, if they want to push, for example, Damian Priest, we've talked about him being possible Money in the Bank guy. If they want to push Damian Priest, you can sort of see Damian Priest is a well-rounded character. You know, sometimes he's a cool, good guy. Sometimes he's telling Gunther, go pick his bones. He's got this beef with Finn Balor. We see him palling around with his friends in the Judgment Day. He's a well-rounded character.
Yeah.
LA Knight's not. And that's my one thing. It's like maybe they just don't understand what stories they can tell with a character like LA Knight.
Well, if they're having any confusion about what stories they can tell with LA Knight, look at the one with Bray Wyatt. Because that story did a lot for LA Knight. Well, it did nothing for Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
But that's the story that people saw LA Knight was like, oh, this is who he is, and this is what he can do. And I'm not saying one-dimensional characters are something you should necessarily strive for in any creative endeavor. That being, LA Knight isn't just a one-dimensional character. There's something more yet something less to him than that. Right. You know, he's so oblivious.
Doesn't that even out though?
You'd think so, but I don't know. It's like he's oblivious and lacks any sort of self-awareness, but at the same time revels in that. And it's simple, but there's a possibility that you could do things with other characters that could maybe be a little more complex, where the Bray Wyatt, his character has never been necessarily one to, I guess, soul search in terms of his relationship to most of his foes. That's not a universal thing. There's probably a few instances where I mean, I'm not saying the Bray Wyatt character doesn't do any sort of introspection. That's like 90% what he is.
Yeah.
But it's generally for his own stuff. It's not what any sort of, outside, or for the most part, not outside stuff that makes him introspective. But you got someone like LA Knight, who basically everything bounces right off him that you can throw his way.
He's like invulnerable to anybody.
He is. And imagine someone like Seth Rollins being in a feud with him. Seth Rollins, just based on the crowd singing alone, can get in people's head. LA Knight's not going to be fazed by that.
Right, but
at all.
Therein sort of lies the problem. It's like people who claim that Superman's a boring character because he can do everything. LA Knight is kind of that. It's like,
yeah, but Superman's not funny, and LA Knight's funny.
Yeah, but how do you look? I think it's a challenge, but I think maybe when you think of LA Knight, it's like, what do we have for this guy? Like, you put him in a feud with like literally like the Undertaker of our day. When I talk about Undertaker, I mean like the mystique of the Undertaker.
Yeah.
And he no-sells it all. He would no-sell Seth Rollins. He'd probably get that crowd yaying Seth Rollins. He'd probably do the same. That's like dangerous for one thing because you're burying everybody else. But also number two, like, what's his vulnerability? What is his vulnerability? What's his
loses matches a lot, Steve. That seems seemingly his vulnerability.
Okay, but here's the thing. If you're champion, you can't do that. If he's champion, what's his vulnerability?
Well, if he's champion, he'll probably be a heel champion. He'll have to cheat to win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like on an even playing field.
No. Here's the thing, though. That's the problem, though. He's a heel champion, but the whole crowd loves him. Do they want that?
I mean, if you got someone here, I'm not saying he's a character of great depth and complexity, but he's an interesting character.
He has an interest. He's got his own mystique.
He does.
Which is, how is it this guy is so Teflon?
I know. And
it's so bulletproof.
And we're used to like one-dimensional characters of like, you got the monster heel who just goes and smashes and squashes everybody, or the chicken shit heel who always has to cheat.
Yeah.
He's none of those things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but
none of those things.
Who do you write against him in a feud? Who do you have him chase that people aren't going to boo? That's like a problem. The main feud he ever had in NXT was with Cameron Grimes.
Yeah.
Cameron Grimes, like the most oblivious character they ever put in NXT, and that's why that feud kind of worked.
It did. Well, that's when Cameron was coming off the Stonks thing, and he was super rich, and
yeah, but he's like he's a dipshit. He's like so oblivious. Nowadays, he's like a normal person. I'm having fun at SmackDown.
He tucks his shirts in and all that.
Yeah, I know it's a different character. Yeah. But back then, it was like, he's like, you probably live under a bridge, you idiot. And he's like, I'm so rich, I live under two.
Yeah.
Which is Teflon to LA Knight. Like, I guess you need somebody who's completely oblivious and even stupider than LA Knight in order to
counter the obliviousness and stupidity of the LA Knight character. Yes.
I think that what we're kind of proving here is that is not an easy character to write. How do you do that? It's
not, but it's an interesting challenge in how you get not only LA Knight, but his opponents over.
Yeah, but they got 5 hours of TV to write every single week. I don't know if they want challenges, man. I think they want. Okay,
but the greatest challenge WWE seemingly had in recent history is getting Roman Reigns over.
Mm-hmm.
They figured that out.
Yeah,
it took a while, but they figured it out.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
babyface Seth Rollins was boring at first.
Yeah,
he figured that out.
Roman has he's got so much rich history that you can mine, not just personally speaking with his emotions and the betrayals and stuff of Seth Rollins and all that kind of stuff, and the fans, his relationship with that.
Yeah.
But the bloodline, you've got all that history. Man, that stuff was
LA Knight has none of that, but LA Knight's wildly entertaining, so it's fine. Can't we just be entertained sometimes, Steve?
I can't. I'm just trying to look out for these poor writers who are like, okay, who's he going to be up against? Oh, Seth Rollins, our most popular guy. Seth's going to get killed by this guy.
Yeah, I know.
Like, even, dude, I want to see LA Knight in there with John Cena. He might get, Cena doesn't know, he wouldn't know how to dismantle LA Knight.
No, at all.
See, it's impossible.
He tries to give him cry face, and LA Knight would just kind of go, yeah. And then what is Cena going to do? You'll have nothing.
I don't need to take lessons from you. You're out there making movies about little cars running around.
You call yourself a megastar.
Nah. I'm the megastar around here.
I'm the megastar around here. What everybody's saying.
And they would LA Knight Cena out of the building.
Oh, they really would. Everybody'd be going, yeah. All right, we got a couple more LA Knight questions. Mondo here asks, LA Knight would get the biggest pop for winning Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Logan Paul, the most heat. And Damian Priest has the most intriguing storyline. What are the cons do you see for each of them? I think we discussed that with LA Knight potentially.
Yeah.
And who do you think is the best choice overall? So we just spent 10 minutes talking about potential cons with pushing LA Knight in any capacity. They would also apply for winning Money in the Bank. So cons for Logan Paul, Damian Priest. I think Logan Paul, the most obvious con is that he's not there all the time.
He's just not there. Yeah.
He's just not there. And one of the more appealing aspects of the whole Money in the Bank idea is the constant threat of a cash-in.
Yeah, it's always around.
And if he's not there, that tension that's kind of necessary with the briefcase is missing from your show.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the biggest con for Logan Paul. And and on top of that, like, isn't it like a guarantee? Maybe not a guaranteed, but
80% success rate
with Money in the Bank and Logan Paul. It'd have to be a loss. Like, you can't have your champion not there. Also, you already have one guy who's a part-time champion.
Yeah,
So that's a con.
As far as Priest,
there's the question of, is it his time?
Yeah, that's what it is. Is he ready for that high profile of a spot? Is it his time? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, he has gotten a lot more confident and comfortable on the mic. It's also not like the crowd. I know LA Knight's an impossible sort of bar to set, but it's not like he's the most over guy in the world. Now, I know WWE really likes Judgment Day. But and everybody loves Rhea and they love to hate Dom. And I think people really like Finn Balor. And I think people would be interested in Priest if you nail the story. I think that's the case. But getting him to superstar level where he's up there and legitimately people think of him as a main eventer, I think that there's at the very least a question mark if they can pull it off.
Yeah.
That's the con, is that it's sort of an unknown commodity.
Really? I mean, he's just coming off losing to Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
In a phenomenal match.
Yeah.
A phenomenal match.
Yeah.
That Damian Priest went out of his way.
Yeah.
To help Bad Bunny look like $1 million.
Hasn't had any titles.
No. Not in the main roster. No.
Seen him win. But my God, the guy's got a 10 out of 10 look. He's got a 10 out of 10 voice. His promos themselves are getting a lot better. He's moved along very quickly.
He has. He's a really good wrestler. He's got a lot of the ingredients you want in a main eventer. It's just wait to see if now is a time where he's put it all together and given that opportunity, he could really run with it. We just don't know.
Yeah.
Just don't know.
Yeah.
Guardian Ape has another LA Knight question. An idea that I haven't really thought of till mentioned here. Is anyone else convinced we are getting a megastar battle with LA Knight and Logan Paul at SummerSlam?
Oh, man.
That is a distinct possibility.
It'd be a guaranteed win for Logan Paul.
It really would.
Because he probably needs, they need to give that guy a win because, he can't just.
But guess what? LA Knight would come out of it completely unfazed.
Yeah, probably moreover. He would win all the promos.
Oh, he would.
I mean, look, he'd win any promo against anybody at this point, really. You put The Rock in there with him. What can anybody say about him?
Nothing.
You see Xavier Woods and they're trying to clown his vest in LA Knight. Nobody cares.
No, and he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't care. No, he doubles down on it, Yeah. He's got, instead of the red vest, he's got a black vest. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Isn't it shocking that they haven't made more LA Knight merchandise?
I know this. There's two shirts. There's the logo one on various colored shirts, and then there is another one I saw that has that's almost like a 90 inspired one.
Oh,
that was pretty cool.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. So yeah, no, I could definitely see that. I had not thought about it until you just said it.
Yeah, I hadn't either. But that's a distinct possibility if neither of them end up winning the briefcase.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Shavon here asked, do you guys think this will be Finn's last real chance being a world champion? As much as I would love to see Finn win at Money in the Bank, I believe if he loses, he won't get another run with a title. With a title? I don't know about that. I think someone, with his accolades, with his experience, with his high skill level, especially doing really good character work now, I would never say he's not going to have another title run full stop with any belt.
Yeah.
As a world champion, again, I know he's getting up there in years. He's around 40 years old, I think.
Yeah.
He's doing some of the best work of his WWE career right now.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Judgment Day super over. They are the focus of Monday Night Raw, so I can't dispel the idea completely.
Yeah.
I don't give him much shot at winning at Money in the Bank, but that being said, I can't really say at the same time that he's not going to win another title, period.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I honestly, I think coming into the year, like when Judgment Day really started picking up steam, coming out of like, you know, when Triple H was really starting to put them together, and he really started doing the Prince Devitt stuff, I was like, yeah, I could see them putting a world title on him. And I think I still, you know, if Priest, I have no idea if this is going to happen, but I love to say that Priest is going to walk out of London as the world heavyweight champion. I think Finn might get that title off him. That's a possibility. If they want to tell that story, that's a hell of a story you could tell right there. Maybe at WrestleMania next year. I don't know. I know there's rumors of like Cody versus Gunther, but I don't know about that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that it's possible that Finn gets it. I wouldn't rule it out, but I also wouldn't bet any money on it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this shirt's cool. Yeah, I like that one.
So they got the basic logo with, I think, on red, blue, and some other colors, and then they have the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. We got a question here from Maggie. This is a tough one.
Okay.
Maggie says, pick one horsewoman and delete the rest from history. Who stays?
Okay, so my favorite is Bailey, but clearly it's Becky. Probably Charlotte. I want to say Becky, but I think the one you keep is Charlotte. She's like a 14, 15 time, whatever it is.
See, for me, it's either Becky or Sasha.
Really? It's not Charlotte? It's a big chunk of history, Charlotte.
I know.
Big chunk and big WrestleMania matches.
I'm aware. Same with Sasha, though.
Yeah.
Without Sasha, you lose maybe the greatest NXT match ever.
Is that, I mean, you know, I know, but Sasha wasn't in the 35 main event.
I know she was in the main event the year that she lost to Bianca. I know it was night one, but still.
So the most, okay, I'll put it this way. I love Sasha. I think she's great. I really do. In my opinion, and this is saying a lot because the horsewomen are all amazing. They're all great. It's like saying, you know, which, I don't know, member of the Shield. It's really like that. It's like, okay, pick one member of the Shield and delete the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sasha's last on my list.
Interesting.
Because Bailey to me is like the Daniel Bryan of women's wrestling. Everybody she has matches with or feuds with they all come out way better. They all come out significantly improved as wrestlers, as promos, as everything. I'm not talking about like their stature or status or whatever, but like technically, fundamentally, they are always so much better after a Bailey feud. And so that's why I rank her like third on the list. Becky for the mainstream crossover. She was the one who people wanted to see at WrestleMania 35 in the main event. They wanted to see her beat Ronda Rousey. Everybody wanted that. Charlotte is such a piece of history with WWE. It's almost like crazy to think of it without her because of how many title reigns she's had, and just like her significance to the women's sort of movement in the WWE in general. She's been there from the start, or from the start of the sort of movement, you know?
Yeah.
Like it made sense for her to be the one who had the Divas title and then gave it up for the big title, you know?
Yeah.
So that's sort of my logic on all of them. And that's not taking anything away from Sasha. I think Sasha is probably the most creative wrestler of them all.
And that was going to be my point, is that she's the most creative and innovative of the four of them. I feel like in terms of what she does in the ring and adapting a variety of styles into a really cohesive style of her own.
I think a case could be made for like crossover appeal as well. Although she hasn't really like, I don't know. I feel like Sasha, Mercedes, It's a bummer she left WWE. I felt like she was right on the verge. And look, I'm so happy that she's doing what she wants to do. It's a bummer she's injured right now. But it's like she had that Star Wars role. Yeah. And I feel like she was on the verge of like breaking that next thing, like doing that next big thing. And then she left WWE, kind of had to regroup. She was all over the place. And now she's, you know, doing what she's doing now.
Yeah.
But I feel like the platform of WWE is about to like launch her up.
But it's interesting is WWE did absolutely nothing to promote her being in The Mandalorian.
Oh, I know. That was stupid. That was really dumb.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Which would be frustrating.
Yeah. I think she definitely has the most mainstream potential of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she's terrific. But yeah, that's sort of there's my reasoning. It'd be I think it'd be Becky, and then you get rid of everybody else. Or Charlotte.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that, probably. Jimmy Thomas here, another horsewoman question. Agree or disagree as a character? Charlotte is the worst of the 4 horsewomen. She seems to be the same from when she was called up. She's not quite the same. Her character now is I need a title.
I agree. I do agree with that. I agree. I think as a character, she's like the least interesting. Now, Charlotte, I think Charlotte, the shame about that, I think Charlotte as a performer, as a person, as a human, has so much more to offer.
Definitely.
I have heard more than anybody. I have heard so many good stories about her, like in real life. Seems like a lovely person.
I mean, our one interaction with her was...
She was absolutely just the nicest person. But everybody was. Sasha was super nice.
Yeah.
Everybody who's been super nice that we've talked to. But Charlotte was so nice. And... you know, only her, you know, I used to do a lot of the drawing of like different wrestlers and stuff. Only her and Jade left comments on my stuff. And that's, I know people are busy, but, and a lot of them like hit liked or retweet or whatever. But they took the
time to leave a comment. That's nice. Yeah.
Right. You know?
Yeah.
No, I think Charlotte's like freaking awesome. And I just wonder if maybe there's more stuff. You know, did you go back to the mixed match challenge?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. There was so much personality there with everybody. With everybody.
I know.
Yeah.
Alex Washington here says, in 10 to 15 years from now, who would be the part-timers for WWE in your opinion, like how Brock, Goldberg, Edge, Undertaker have been used? So in 10 and 15 years. So we're talking 2033.
Okay, so 15 years ago was, 2008?
Yeah.
Okay. Who was hot in 2000? Cena was hot in 2008. Orton was hot in 2008.
Yeah. Batista
was hot in 2008. They had all been around for
a few years.
Years.
Yeah, 5-6 years.
So who right now has been around since like 20? I mean,
you're talking Seth, you're talking Roman. It's a little bit later, but you're talking Kevin Owens, Sammy, Finn Balor.
Yeah.
You're talking the early NXT classes.
Cody will probably be, like Finn. Yeah, you're right. Although some of the NXT guys, they got a little bit later in life. So, like, I wonder if it's more like 15 years from now, like Austin Theory, maybe.
Maybe. You know, how old is Seth now? He's mid-30s, right?
Seth's actually, because Seth came into NXT young. He came into NXT, I think, younger than Owens did.
Yeah.
I think so, too. Because Owens is like, what, a couple of years older than Seth?
I think so. Here, let me see how old Seth Rollins is.
Because Seth is like, what, 35 or something like that?
Seth Rollins is 37.
He's 37. What's Kevin Owens, like 40 by now?
And Kevin Owens is 39.
Oh, only 2 years older? Okay.
Couple years difference.
Never mind then.
I mean, Seth Rollins would be in his early 50s in 15
Dude, you know what? No, you know what? We're missing a whole class because that whole 2018, 2019 NXT class, they're all in AEW.
Yeah.
That's the class we always talk about. Like, they missed it. Like, the whole class of call-ups. Like, Gargano he'll be a part-timer in 15 years.
He's kind of a part-timer now.
If they start using him and they use him as a full-timer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like 15 years from now, you know, like Malachi Black will be a part-timer in WWE.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre. Well, Drew McIntyre could be a part-timer.
He could be a part-timer.
In 15 years.
Oh, yeah. In 15 years is a ways.
But then
they also keep good care of their bodies.
They keep good care of their bodies, but also they're making probably a lot more money than the guys 15 years ago were.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They're making really good money right now.
Yeah.
It seems like more wrestlers are not necessarily of the mindset that I got to keep going till the wheels come off when it comes to their careers.
Yeah.
And
there's gonna be a lot more outside opportunities for them too.
There are on that too. You know, if once they get to 40, 45, and their bodies hurt a lot more, and they wake up in the morning, they may be like, all right, I'm good walking away right now.
Yeah.
And not be so concerned about coming back, for the huge paycheck. Maybe once, twice a year for a few years. So I mean, it depends on the mindset of a lot of these wrestlers. Are they satisfied to have a good 20, 25 year career and leave the industry in relatively good shape so they can enjoy the rest of their lives?
Yeah.
Without being a pain?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
Who knows? Ben Estrada here asks, more impactful run at the top. 3 names here. Hogan in the 80s. Stone Cold in the 90s. Roman Reigns today.
Oh, that's too hard to tell. Like the last one, that's really difficult to tell. Man, okay, so you got to boil it down to the 2 guys who sort of popularized it in the mainstream. As much as I love Roman Reigns, I don't think it's like popular. I don't think the Bloodline story is like popularizing in the mainstream right now. Austin, look, dude, you know, as soon as you bring up what you do for a living to anybody on the outside world who casually asks you, they bring up 2 names.
There's 3 names usually.
And The Rock, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Rock, Austin, Hogan. So who made the bigger impact during their time? I'll say this. Austin's contemporaries were on a higher level than Hogan's contemporaries.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I'm right about that, right?
Yeah.
Like Rock, Undertaker, Mankind,
Triple H, Mankind, yeah.
Yeah. Like people knew who China was back then.
Yeah.
So it's hard not to say, it's really hard not to say Hogan, because if you look at WWF before Hogan and WWF after Hogan, that is literally like a quantum leap. That
really is. It is
such a sea change.
It really is.
Whereas, like, I know a WWF before Austin was crap, but it was still WWF, you know?
They were still the brand name in the industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
To see WWF go from a regional territory. And I know there's a lot more to it than just bringing Hogan in, but making Hogan the centerpiece of your promotion certainly helped them go national and become the brand name in the industry.
And on top of that, if you see the main reason the dude who put WCW on their back to beat WWF for those 83 was Hogan. You know, they did it off Hogan's back.
Yeah.
So,
we can lighten around a few more questions here. Alex Foster asks, if this current story goes well, what is Von Wagner's ceiling? Maybe he'll actually have a brand and not be free agent.
Yeah, that his ceiling is being on a brand.
Yeah.
I don't look, as much as I'd love to see Von Wagner win a title, I don't think it's gonna, I'd be kind of surprised if that ever happened.
Yeah, I know. B-Man Patrick Sparks here asked, do you think another wrestling promotion will be able to get a good cable deal?
No.
It's going to be tough. I mean, Impact had to buy their own network to get themselves a cable deal.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe like, isn't Women of Wrestling, isn't that syndicated?
Yeah.
Like, okay, what's another good cable network? WBD has all the cable networks.
HBO, no, it's WBD. Everyone I'm trying to think of is owned by Warner Brothers, or
I know they own like all of the cable channels. Viacom, like, don't they own like thing like that? I mean, obviously they own, or Comcast owns USA, NBC Universal.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I'm thinking. Every channel I'm thinking of, either a WBD channel or NBC Universal.
What's MTV?
I think they're owned by Viacom.
NBC Universal?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, dude, I don't know.
Is VH1 still a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
What about the Independent Film Channel?
IFC, that's got to be owned by NBC Universal. I don't know why I think that, but I think that's the case.
Could be. That's the tough aspect of it is so many channels. I mean, the only other media or company I could think of is Disney. They got ABC. They got the ESPN channels. So, but there's so much wrestling already on cable.
Yeah.
That you run the risk of really oversaturating the market if you put, I don't know, Impact Wrestling on FX.
What's the draw? You know what I mean? Like, what's the draw? If you don't, there's nobody out there that's going to make it worth it to ESPN, to Disney, to put it on FX or ESPN or whatever. Like, there's no draw there.
Yeah.
I mean, is a billionaire can't, they're already owned by billionaires. AEW and WWE. If another billionaire comes along and offers Seth thinks he's not going to go, because here's the thing: if Seth Rollins gets offered $10 million a year, guess what? WWE will just match it. They have that kind of money now.
I know. The Sebastian here asks, which wrestlers would you compare to the following fast food items?
Oh shit. Okay.
First up, the Big Mac. Today's wrestlers wrestling today.
Oh man, I thought you were going to go the other way. I thought it was going to be which wrestlers would you make these fast food items? The Big Mac? Okay, so the Big Mac, it's sort of like the OG fast food burger, you know, like the original. It'd be like John Cena, I guess.
Yeah, perhaps the most famous fast food burger of them all.
Yeah, the Big Mac. It'd be John Cena.
Yeah, the Big Mac is John Cena. Yeah, the McGriddle.
Oh man, love it, but God, can't do it too much. Bray Wyatt.
Okay, good. The Whopper
goes away for a long time.
Yeah.
The Whopper, second
really
run.
Good. I appreciate it in a whole different level than the Big Mac, but constantly playing second fiddle.
Oh wow, what a great analogy right there. What a great description. Constantly playing second fiddle. Seth Rollins.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And the long chicken sandwich.
Cody Rhodes. My favorite thing in the world, the long chicken sandwich.
Oh.
Because he's even better with cheese.
Oh my gosh. You love Cody way too much.
I do, man. I do.
Let's see here. Okay, Patrick Cheeseman says here, Friendos, you have won the Money in the Bank contract, but instead of a title opportunity, you get a lifetime supply of your favorite foods. What are you choosing?
Trying to think of something that I would get like a lifetime supply. This is stupid. I'd get a lifetime supply of eggs. And I know they bug your son, but I eat 3 every day.
You eat a lot of eggs. I get that. Yeah.
I eat a lot of eggs.
Yeah.
They're a pain in the ass to get from the store because you got to make sure you don't break them.
Yeah.
It'd be either eggs or avocados. Yeah.
Oh, avocados is a good call.
Yeah.
Because avocados are expensive too.
They're like $1.28 for a large one these days. I think they've gone.
But that's
down
for one avocado, isn't it?
Yeah, my breakfast.
How much is one banana? 30 cents? 40 cents?
Oh, it's cheap. Yeah, it's super cheap. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. Those avocados are good though.
A lifetime supply of, let's think of one food that I can't be without.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it'd have to be cereal.
Oh, good.
I can't be without cereal unless I eat it every day, but almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Vieira, what is the ideal time of day for watching wrestling? Man, if every pay-per-view was started at noon and was done by 3, I would be so happy.
I love the Saudi shows. Sorry, not because of the Saudi stuff. The time of the Saudi shows are amazing.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? We get up, we get to hang out at 10 o'clock in the morning, eat some McGriddles if I decide to.
Yeah.
And then we do our podcast afterwards and we have the rest of the day.
It's great.
It's amazing. It's either weekends in the mornings, like late morning, or if I cannot sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'll flick on some 1997 Nitro, some 1995 ECW. I'll get my nostalgia fix. It's my favorite thing.
Jesse Helsius, musical performances and wrestling are often very hit or miss. What's your favorite, least favorite, one you'd like to see?
My favorite... Okay,
My
so
favorite and least favorite might be the same one. SummerSlam 98 when the D-Generation X band comes out and plays. And it's an absolute mess because there's no monitors. And Jim Johnston is out there looking like a music teacher. Trying to play the song. And like one of the guitars has no distortion on it. It's just clean.
Hilarious. Yeah.
It's the best and the worst.
I think my favorite is probably Motorhead when they played Triple H.
Yeah.
It's probably that one. I like when Rancid played Ruby. I thought that was cool,
That was good. That was good.
But yeah, those are my favorites. My least favorite, boy, that was a good one that you just said. My least favorite, dude, there was something recently. Wasn't there like...
You talking about at the last AEW pay-per-view for Anarchy in the Arena?
Yeah, what was it?
You don't remember what the guy...
Oh,
that was awful.
Okay, so that was bad, but there was something... Weren't people not talking about that? Wasn't there a pay-per-view recently, relatively recently, where people were bitching about like the musical act?
Oh, maybe. I just remember that one because it was
it was shocking.
Bad. It was shockingly bad. And like they took like a mistake from the last time where the music kept playing and decided to do it again.
Oh yeah, I know.
And the whole thing was distracting from the match.
That was really silly. Yeah, that was really silly. But there was a dude, if somebody can let me know in the comments, I want to say it was an AEW one because all the WWE shows have been really good lately. But I swear there was like a country act or something weird.
Yeah, I don't
one
remember.
of those things. I don't remember. Right.
This one should be pretty easy. David Batushek, would you power rank all the sports teams in the Sacramento area? So it's pretty much the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento River Cats.
Yeah, right.
The San Francisco Giants AAA affiliate. It's Republic FC.
Yeah, Sacramento.
The local soccer team here.
Yeah.
I guess the Stockton Ports. They're a single A baseball team, I believe. Sure. Like I don't consider the Bay Area part of the Sacramento area.
No, neither do I. No.
So it's pretty much just three teams. I'd say the Kings.
Yeah.
Republic FC.
Yeah.
Because at least they used to be pretty good. How about now?
Yeah.
And then probably the River Cats. Because River Cats used to be really good when they were the A's AAA affiliate. They won a bunch of the PCL titles, but I don't think they really win much anymore.
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right, we can end with this one. Carlos Diaz here asks, a time machine lets you go back to fix what you think is the biggest mistake in wrestling history. In exchange, it erases the most pleasant surprise you've seen in wrestling in the past 10 years. What does it fix and what does it erase?
Okay, so it erased Seth Rollins cashing in at Mania 31 when we were there.
Yeah.
That's my biggest pleasant surprise.
Oh, yes. Same.
Okay, so let's take heavy stuff off the table, Owen Hart, stuff like that. Let's take that off the table.
Yeah.
Biggest mistake in wrestling history. It would probably be biggest mistake. You know what I would do? Go back and I'd fix the finger poke of doom.
Interesting.
Walking into that match, that angle was fucking hot, dude.
It was.
Hogan versus Nash, Hollywood versus the Wolfpack. That angle was hot.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh shit, they're going to do this match. That's really cool. And they did that finger poke and it was like, this is fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember being just being pissed off when that happened, watching it live.
Yeah. That's
good.
Fix. Give me another. Give me another good one. Come on, we can think of another one.
This is one of the first to pop to my head.
Don't say the Nexus. I think that controversial opinion. The Nexus we're never gonna.
I wasn't gonna say the Nexus. Booker T should have beat Triple H at WrestleMania.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. You know what? Here's one. Boy, this could make for a good top 10 list.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have put that damn title on Razor Ramon at some point.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if Razor Ramon walked into the Attitude Era as champion? Like Scott Hall in the Attitude Era in WWF.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Him and Nash for that matter. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
That could have been. You have the whole clique in the Attitude Era. Imagine if DX was just a clique.
That'd been something else.
Holy shit.
Oof.
Austin wouldn't have won at WrestleMania.
No. Undertaker would have been fighting them all, 4 or 5 on 1?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. All right. That's going to do it for today. All your questions can be submitted, of course, by going to Patreon, patreon.com/Stephen Larson, or clicking the join button there on the YouTube, youtube.com/Stephen Larson. If you're listening to us in the audio realm, do us a solid. Leave us a rating, review, or a comment. We really appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.